कर दें. Good morning everyone. I invite Priya Singhania to present her topic. इसका volume. To present her topic. Priya, kindly unmute yourself. हाँ.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, please start.
Good morning, everyone. I am Priya Singhania, and on behalf of my group from roll number 75 to 99, I will be presenting our topic, injectables, implants, and newer contraception. So let's get started.
क्या हुआ वॉल्यूम को? ठीक है. So she is representing this group. So Priya, continue.
Injectables. They are progesterone-only contraception. Commonly used preparations are DMPA, which is depo-metroxy progesterone acetate, and norepinephrine enanthate, NET-N. They both are injected. Ma'am, slide is not visible.
Just they are putting it on recording.
Okay.
They have not put it on recording. So recording पे डाल दिया? Yes, Priya, continue.
They both are injected intramuscularly. Dose of DMPA is 150 milligram for every 3 months or 300 milligram for every 6 months or twice a year. Dose of NET-N is 200 milligram for every 2 months. DMPA is the composition. Name of injection is Depo-Provera, which is distributed free of cost by Government of India with the name of Antara under Family Planning Program. This is newer contraception. And ideally, injectables should be inserted within 5 days of cycle or immediately after abortion or 6 weeks after delivery. Other injectables are Depo-Provera 104, which is also known as Uniject. It contains 104 mg of DMPA and it is given subcutaneously over anterior thigh or abdomen for every 3 months. It is available in market with the name of Tiana Press. Here image is given. Look in the image, there is pre-filled injector. Next slide.
Yes, this is the pre-filled injector. Okay.
Mechanism of action of injectables are it inhibits ovulation by suppressing the mid-cycle LHP and it thickens the cervical mucus and makes it viscid, by which it prevents the sperm penetration and it causes atrophy of endometrium and prevents implantation of blastocysts. Advantages of injectables are it eliminates the regular medication like OCP and it is safer during lactation as it does not alter it doesn't alter the composition of milk and it doesn't give estrogen related side effects. It reduces the menstrual symptoms like menorrhagia, dysmenorrhea and it is protective against endometrial cancer. It reduces the chances of PID, endometriosis, ovarian cancer. And as we know, vasectomy is not immediately effective. It takes some time to be effective. So during that non-effective period, we can use injectable as a contraception method. Disadvantages of injectables are it causes irregular bleeding and occasional phase of amenorrhea. Return of fertility after discontinuation is usually delayed by 6 to 12 months and for NET it is quicker. Loss of bone mineral density. It causes loss of bone mineral density, but it can be restored within 5 years of stoppage of injectable. Here it is written age, but that is not age, that is stoppage. Side effects of injectables are depression, weight gain, and headache. Contraindication. Contraindication can be remembered by a mnemonic. Virat likes to play cricket. V is for undiagnosed vaginal bleeding. L is for liver disease. T is for thrombosis, history of thrombosis. T is for pregnancy and breast cancer. C is for breast cancer. Now, the next is implants. Implants are also progesterone-only contraception. Previously used implant was Norplant, which is not in now use. It is 6 elastic rod. Elastic means silicone rubber rod. And now in use and recently used are implanon and nexplanon. Here we will discuss in detail about implanon and nexplanon. Implanon and nexplanon, the only difference between them is implanon is not radiopaque and nexplanon is radiopaque. That is, nexplanon is visible in various radio imaging. Similar properties about implanon and nexplanon. It is single rod, 4 cm long. Composition is ethanol gestrol, which contains 68 mg total. Releasing rate is 60 microgram gradually and then reduces to 30 microgram per day over 3 years. Mechanism of action similar to injectable. It inhibits ovulation and it has got supplementary effect of endometrium as well as a cervical mucus. Insertion. It is inserted intradermally in inner aspect of non-dominant arm, 6 to 8 cm above the medial epicondyle. Ma'am, please previous slide. Here it is in image where it is located. And ideally, it should be inserted within 5 days of menstrual cycle, immediately after abortion and 3 weeks after postpartum. Advantages of implants. It is highly effective for long-term uses, rapidly reversible and suited for women who have completed their family but do not desire permanent sterilization. Nexplanon is highly efficacious and rest all advantages are similar to injectables, like they eliminate regular medication, can be used safely during lactation. Disadvantages of implants are irregular menstrual bleeding, spotting, amenorrhea. These all are common. Contraindication is same as injectables. Norplan 2, ZA, also known as LNG rod. LNG is levonorgestrel. It is two elastic rod given in diagram V-shaped white color. Elastic means silicone rubber. Each contains 75 mg of levonorgestrel. Releasing rate is 50 microgram of levonorgestrel per day. Used for 3 months, it is easier to insert and removal. Now next is newer contraception. Antara, we have already discussed.
Yes. Yes. You are not audible.
Am I audible?
Yes, now you are audible.
Yes, ma'am. Next slide, please.
No, you have to repeat this.
Okay, ma'am. Newer contraception. Antara is already covered in injectable. Now here we will discuss about Chaya. Centromen. Name of Centromen, trade name of Centromen is Saheli. It is launched by CDRI Lucknow. It is non-steroidal contraceptive. Now what is the benefit of non-steroidal contraceptive? It means it is devoid of any significant adverse metabolic and hormonal effects. Now the active composition of Centromen is ormeloxifene. It has potent anti-estrogenic and weak estrogenic properties. We'll discuss about it later. Mechanism of action is it does not inhibit ovulation like other contraceptives, but it creates asynchrony between developing zygote and endometrium thickness, by which it causes implantation failure. Now the dose. It is given orally 30 mg twice a week for first month and then once a week till contraception needed. Return of fertility is immediate after stoppage of drug. It is also distributed by Government of India free of cost by the name of Chaya. It is highly safe, effective and reversible method. It has no teratogenic effect. It can be used as emergency contraceptive method. Side effect is delayed menstruation. It should be avoided in PCOD, cervical cell hyperplasia, liver and kidney disease, and tuberculosis. Now, it's non-contraceptive use. Now, as I told, potent anti-estrogenic activity. Now, because of its potent anti-estrogenic activity, it is currently tried in menstruation hyperplasia. And because of weak estrogenic properties, it is used as HRT, hormonal replacement therapy. Now the last part. Next slide, please.
Summarize. You have,
Yes, ma'am. Sorry.
that I have displayed.
Ma'am, not.
Summary is not visible.
No, ma'am.
It should be. देखो यहाँ पे मेरे मोबाइल पे it is visible. Should I read it for you then? It is not visible to you?
Ma'am, no, ma'am, not visible.
Okay. So Priya is summarizing the contraceptive method as injectables and implants, and she has ये rest of them को क्या
Now
चाहिए?
it is
Visible?
yes.
Yes, you should continue.
Summary of injectable and implants. Injectable and implants, they both increases the chances of ectopic pregnancy. They both cannot be used as emergency contraception. Virat next to take special uses. Now DMPA and Implanon. They both can be used in lactating females. That does not alter the composition of milk. And injectable, they can also be used in epileptic patients because they decreases the frequency of seizure. And DMPA can also be used in sickle cell anemic patients because they decrease the sickling. And DMPA cannot be used in osteoporotic women as it decreases the bone mineral density, but Implanon can be used in osteoporotic women as it does not decreases the bone mineral density. Failure rate of DMPA is 0 to 0.3 and failure rate of Implanon is 0.01. That means Implanon is highly efficacious. This is all about injectable implants and liver contraception. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you, Priya. I differ with you in Sencroman, and we will discuss the difference. According to me, the Sencroman has to be given not for a month but for 3 months, and the reversible of fertility is not that quick as discussed with you. Anyway, we will start our discussion, and thank you very much. It was a very nice presentation, and so let us start with discussion and question answers. Okay, so I request you all to mute and unmute as to maintain a class decorum, and only at the time when you are answering. Otherwise, you can answer it on a chat. I have a chat open here on my mobile, and I am teaching you with the desktop and laptop. Okay, so we start with the group 4 activity, and the group 4 activity was about injectable implants, and she has taken a few of the new ones. Okay, so let me know the name of contraceptives can be given as injections. Anyone? She has already told you. Just name the contraceptives which can be given as injections. Unmute yourself and tell me, or write on chat. DMPA, okay. DMPA all has to be capital, okay. So you cannot write D as capital and MPA as small. It is a short term. DMPA, okay. Then second is NETEN. So we have DMPA and NETEN. Any other you can think of? Injectables? Apart from DMPA and NETEN, are there any other? Okay, we'll stick to this and then we will discuss. Implanon is implant. I am talking about injectable, Garima. Depo-Provera is same. Implanon, Garima Gupta, that is not correct. Implanon is implant. We are talking about injections. Depo-Provera, okay. Anything else you can think of? Okay. So for the time being, we stick to DMPA with its intramuscular form, with its subcutaneous form, NETEN, And that is what Priya has discussed with us. Now, what is the literal meaning of depot? Depot provera you are talking about. What is the literal meaning of depot in this contraceptive medicine? Can anyone tell me?
Ma'am,
Yes?
ma'am, in
Ma'am,
release.
really,
Ma'am,
ma'am,
depot means
means
that it will be present in the body, that is, it will be slow release.
Okay. Any better explanation can I get? डिपो क्या होता है? बस डिपो क्या होता है? It is a place where it is stored.
Stored.
है ना? So it is slow release. It is not that when you it is like a body has that injection and it would slowly release it in the form of tablet. In the form the dosing would be different in cases of implant and in cases of injections, because the implants have a storage system in which they release it gradually per day, and in this case the injection has, the whole body has that much medication, and it peaks, the progesterone level peaks. So it is a different, the implants and injectables have difference in that the injectables, the amount of progesterone which is released per day is like the amount of tablet which you give it per day. So it is not taken as a that slow release, but it is taken as a just a second. It is taken as a medication which is stored there, and it is slowly released in the body in per day about 8 to 13 weeks. So I will tell you the difference between implants and injectables. Though every injectables are for short period of time, that is either 2 months or 3 months, while implants have a long life of 3 years or 5 years or even 7 years. So they have a reservoir system, and reservoir they have a membrane system through which it percolates, while in case of injection the progesterone level is there in the blood itself, and when the blood peaks, then only the progesterone level peaks, then only you have that effect. So that is the difference. What are the hormones that can be used in these injections? Can you specify both the hormones, and what is the base solution in each of the DMPA and NET-EN? Can anyone tell me? The hormones, you know, 2 hormones in injections. What progesterones are used? In DMPA, what is the progesterone used? Anyone? You can write on chat. My God. Priya, you are not a good teacher. Everyone is writing estradiol. Now we are discussing progesterone only injectables, and the answer which I am getting is estrogen. I am getting estrogen and progesterone. You are not third year students, my dear. Levonorgestrel.
Depot.
Yes, depot. Depot is injection form. What is the progesterone? Medroxyprogesterone acetate. D is for depot. MPA is medroxyprogesterone acetate. That is the progesterone form. Is it understood, Priya? And what is the second? What is the progesterone in NET-EN?
Norepinephrine.
या तो इतना समय क्यों लग रहा है? इतना समय क्यों लग रहा है? कोई ईस्ट्रोडियोल लिख रहा है, कोई डिपो लिख रहा है. Norethistron enanthate, NET-EN. That is the progesterone which is okay. Now, what is the base solution in DMPA and what is the base solution in NET-EN? किसमें dissolved है वो injection? Anyone? You are supposed to give that injection to the patient, and you know that DMPA and NET-EN are given by intramuscular route. Okay, over deltoid and gluteus. So what is the base solution? The base solution in DMPA is water, aqueous based, while in NETN it is oil based, castor oil. So, whenever any injection becomes oil based, it is difficult to inject because it is more viscous and it is more painful. So, for DMPA, it is formulated in the microcrystal forms so that it delays absorption after injection, and it is suspended in aqueous solution, which is water based. The type of progesterone is medroxyprogesterone acetate, that is DMPA stands for depot is for D, that is it has a shelf life of about 3 months, and then medroxyprogesterone acetate is the progesterone which is used. The dose she has specified as 150 milligram, and it has to be given as deep intramuscular. That is important. Deep is important. The sites are gluteal and deltoid, and it is active. Once given, it is active for 3 months to a maximum about 14 weeks. She has also told you the failure rate, and there is another form which is a self-administered form, which is a subcutaneous injection of 104 milligram, which is also effective for 3 months. Okay, I have got a delayed answer after googling. Rashmi Chaturvedi has told me castor oil. Okay, so even if you have googled it, but you have seen it. And the NETN, the progesterone is norethistron enanthate. That is why it is called as NETEN. But the noristeroid is the form, and converted into active form, that is known as norethindrone. And it has an oily base, that is castor oil. These progesterones are all derived from 19-nortestosterone. It is a 200 milligram dose, and it is intramuscular, effective for 2 months. So now it is clear to you that there are 2 injections, and that is the difference. Now, mode of action of these IM injections, she has told you very clearly, and I want to tell you the effect of on FSH and LH in the body of these injections. Anyone? Unmute yourself and please let me know. What is the mode of action? Name 3 actions. In order of importance, I want. How do these injectables act? Rahul Pathak, inhibition of ovulation. Is it the first important step? Inhibition of ovulation, or there is something else? No, ma'am. Then I want it in the order of preference, which is the first mode of action, then second, then third. Anyone? ऐसे में बहुत टाइम लग जाएगा, जल्दी जल्दी आंसर दो. Only people have unmuted and not answering. I can hear surrounding noises. Priya, answer this question.
Ma'am, it inhibits ovulation by suppressing the LHP.
Okay.
And it thickens the cervical mucus and makes it recede so that it prevents the entry of sperm.
Okay.
And third is it atrophies the endometrium so that blastocysts will not be able to implant there.
Okay. And what about the effect on FSH? You told me cervical mucus is thickened, so sperms cannot enter. The endometrium is thinned out, so blastocysts cannot implant. But you also told me that there is an ovulation of inhibition, and that is because of LH surge. Okay, the LH surge doesn't occur, so ovulation doesn't occur, and therefore there is no fertilization. What about FSH? Have you read that? What about FSH? Those who are not answering, kindly. Please, these things disturb the class. Priya, what is the effect on FSH? Will it have any effect on FSH? It will not have any effect on FSH. Okay, so don't be This is the order. It first of all, these injectable progesterones, the ovulation of inhibition is more important a cause in the newer progesterones, that is in the implants. But in order, the injectable progesterone, the first and foremost mechanism of action is thickening of the cervical mucus. Secondly, it alters the endometrium, that is the circulating level of progesterones are high enough to effectively block the LH surge. And then secondly, ovulation doesn't occur, but FSH FSH is not affected as now this is really not good. People unmute themselves and then we are not able to conduct the class. Suppression of FSH is not that intense as with COC, therefore follicular growth is maintained sufficiently. You all want a lecture like a small baby and everything should be given it to you and you just don't want to study. That is what I have seen. Because when it comes to answering, out of 150 students, I don't get even 15 answers. That is the saddest part of it. And you just want that the teacher should come here and just narrate everything, give you PDF, and you will just mug it up and then you will vomit it out in exam. That is what you want. Therefore, follicular growth is maintained sufficiently to produce estrogen as with early follicular phase of normal menstrual cycle, and this symptoms of estrogen deficiencies like vaginal atrophy and decrease in breast size do not occur with these injections. Therefore, the advantage is that these levels of progesterone which are given in the injection, they suppress only the LH surge and therefore they block only the ovulation part, while the FSH is not suppressed. So the FSH keeps on acting and therefore the follicles keep on growing and they maintain sufficient and they secrete sufficient amount of estrogen in the early follicular phase, which is normally there in the normal menstrual cycle, and therefore deficiency of estrogen doesn't occur and the patient doesn't have the symptoms like vaginal atrophy and decrease in breast size. That is the answer of this question. What is the timing of injection? Any special precautions you have to take while giving this intramuscular injections? If you have to take special precautions, why do you have to take? And what if she forgets to take the injection? What is the grace period for the next injection? I want sufficient number of answers because I have given you sufficient amount of time to read this small 2 pages topic. May I know ABCD answers? Timing of injections? She has already told you. Just after menses, when do you till how much time can you give? After abortion, there is a long list of when it can be given. Within 5 days after period, within 6 weeks after delivery. Very nice. Fair. Then immediately after abortion. Okay. What about if she is switching from combined oral contraceptive pills? What about if she is switching from vaginal rings? What about if she is switching from IUCD? Now she doesn't want an IUCD and now she wants to switch to injectables. She doesn't want to use vaginal rings, she wants to switch. What about that? These are the answers when she is using no contraceptives. So immediately after abortion, 6 weeks after delivery, immediately after menses, that is 5 to 7 days within periods. Not after periods. From the first day of menses, maybe she will have a periods on 4 to 5 days. So within a week from first day of menses. That is the correct answer. Not after period you wait for another 5 days, it would be ovulation then. So it is not the answer which I think Prajit Kumar has written 5 to 7 days after period. That is not right. Within 5 days of periods. Anyone, can you tell me? Acha, any special precautions you want to take? I'll tell you the timing of injections of rest. Now, any special precautions you have to take while injection or putting that intramuscular injection? आपको इंजेक्शन दिया गया है, आपको लगाना है. Injection should be deep, that is very correct. So deep injections help because they are in the circulation. Any other thing? Any other technique? Any other site of injection is important. She has discussed deltoid. S-track technique, that is one. It is called as Z-track technique, not S. It is Z-tracks. What do you mean by Z-track technique? That is given in the book. What do you mean by Z actually? Can anyone tell me? What is Z technique? You will be finding it Z technique in many injections. So why that Z technique and why that Z? What does that Z mean? Any other apart from Z technique, any other thing you can remember? I'll tell you what Z is. Okay, what is the grace period? She should not be massaged. That is very right, Garima. So why she should not be massaged? What will happen if it is massaged? So two things we got, that it should be Z technique and the site should not be massaged. Now I'll tell you. It is highly effective, more absorption of the drug. Yes, so we don't want that more absorption of the drug. So it is highly effective. The failure rate we have already discussed, less than 0.1 to 0.4. It depends on the timing and within 5 days of menstrual cycle before the dominant follicle develops. That is most important. That is, if she has a menstrual cycle on the 1st of January, please put that injection up to 7th January only, because at that time up to till 5 January or up to till 7th January, because that is the time till after that the dominant follicle takes its place, and once the dominant follicle starts developing, if you are using that injection, you will have to ask her to use a second method of contraception to protect herself from that cycle. So that is for the menstrual cycle. The rest I'll tell you. Technique is intramuscular for a proper drug absorption, that is deep intramuscular is the choice. But Z technique means that you have to just pinch that part of the muscle, pinch up, so that you hold that part of muscle, and then after pinching that part up, you put the injection. So and then after that injection is put into that pinched part, it is already, injection is in that pinched part, and then when you release the pinch, it is the skin goes back, and therefore it becomes a Z. It is not in a single plane as without pinching you would be using it. And in the Z technique, it helps for not immediate dispersion, and it is less painful then. Not massage because you don't want immediate absorption of drug. You want slow release of drug, so that area has not to be massaged. These are the points which have to be taken. For anything which she has forgotten to take, for any TEN, you can give her another 7 days, so that if she has her injection on 1st of the January, it is effective for 8 weeks, that is 2 months. So whole of the January and February, and then first week of March, if she comes, you can allow her that injection. And for DMPA, you give her a grace period of 2 weeks. So DMPA is for 3 months, so it is the whole of the March would be covered, and up to 15th of April, then you can, if she comes and forgets to take the injection, then you can give her a grace period of 15 days. Is it understood? Now name the benefits of injectable. She has already told you the advantages, and she has also mentioned what are the benefits beyond contraception. So can I have from anyone apart from Priya? She has read the topic. Anyone from that group?
Good morning, ma'am. This is Sakshi.
Yes, Sakshi, please carry on. Benefits of injectable. Because of injection, the benefits.
Ma'am, the non-contraceptive.
No, first part A. What is the injection benefit? मतलब उसका benefit over OC, benefit over IUCD. What would be the benefit of injection? You are giving contraception as injection, not as OC, not as IUCD. So what is the benefit?
It can be given to lactating female.
Okay.
It does not need medication.
Okay.
As we have to not take this daily.
Okay.
Ma'am,
Any other benefits beyond contraception? Part B.
non-contraceptive benefit. Patient compliance is good.
Patient compliance is good. That is one. because she has she is not in a worry of missing the pills. So once you have injected, she is free of 2 months. Okay.
Yes.
And benefits beyond contraception.
Benefits are they reduce the risk of endometriosis.
Yes.
They can be given to sickle cell patient.
Yes, that is most important.
And they reduces the seizure frequency.
Yes,
So they can
anti-epileptic
get
part.
relaxation.
Okay. Epilepsy. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
PID. Okay. So advantages are there. Anything? Yes, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Anything you want to say more?
No, ma'am.
Okay. It is used when at least 1 year birth spacing is required. It is effective as long-active reversible contraception. The benefits of injectable as other with POP pills is that it is estrogen free, it is coitus independent and easy, safe and effective. The breastfeeding is, she has already rightly mentioned that it increases the quantity of breast milk. As such, it can be given immediately after delivery, and we will see the difference between those who are lactating and those who are not lactating. But one thing is sure, that progesterones help in increasing the quantity of breast milk. So it is good in lactating mothers. The second important is sickle cell disease, as she has rightly mentioned that both frequency and intensity of crisis is reduced. So therefore, it is a method of choice if the patient has a sickle cell disease. Then she has also rightly mentioned the seizure disorders, because it is an excellent choice in those who have on anti-epileptic drugs, rather helpful in seizure control due to the sedative properties of progesterone. So that is important. Now what you all have not, what you have mentioned is point 5, that is tendency to forget pills, so that the compliance is better. But what is more important is that it can be given in overweight women also, more than 80 kg, and those who are mentally retarded also, because it is difficult for them to maintain on oral progesterone pills. So once you give an injection, so she is protected. Women over 30 years who are smoking, in which you cannot give COCs, and in those who are those with a congenital heart disease, those with a hypertension and diabetes, those with a carbohydrate metabolism and lipid metabolism, these effects are avoided because DMPA is less androgenic. So these are some benefits. Apart from that, we discussed the gynec benefits. Gynec benefits where in the first of all, it reduces the menstrual flow, and therefore menorrhagia should come, or AUB should come first. That is, it also allows correction of anemia. Then the second should come dysmenorrhea, then PID, then endometriosis, fibroids, ectopic. We discussed in these topics also that progesterone only contraceptions help, and therefore these are the gynec uses or non-contraceptive uses, and the first ones were in the contraception, but apart from that they have advantages. So these are some of the advantages. Now what about the return of fertility? And among the two, this was widely discussed. The fertility is better with NET-EN, and the return of fertility is good. But let me know the return of fertility. Among the two, NET-EN is better, Priya has told us. And return of fertility, what is, how much time it takes for DMPA and how much time it takes for NET-EN?
Ma'am, 5 months for DMPA and 3 to 4 months for Netto.
Okay. So it can be about 5.5 months for DMPA and 2 to 3 months for NET-EN, but it can, return of fertility can be as delayed as 1.5 years.
1 year. Okay.
1 year to 1.5 years. Okay. Main side effect with these injectables. Patient complains with main side effect. One main side effect I want to know. She has already mentioned side effects. So one main side effect, which is the most common.
That does not prevent STDs and HIV.
That is one. Which I put it second on the list. What is the first on the list? You are very right that sexually transmitted diseases, gonorrhea, HIV, chlamydia, these things, the person is not protected. Most common side effect with the patient comes if you have put her on injections for 1 year. Suppose you have put her on DMPA and she has got it every quarter. Now most common side effect is amenorrhea. She comes with irregular bleeding pattern. That is the most common side effect which you have to counsel. And the bleeding patterns become irregular to the extent that the patient has amenorrhea, and now she is worried, and you have to counsel her that this amenorrhea would go away when she stops the injection, because it is a continuous progesterone you are giving, and you are not giving a pill free period like in COC, so she doesn't have a withdrawal bleeding. And all the time from 1st of January, then you are put on 1st of April, then you are put on the 1st of July. So that is the mastalgia, weight gain are all progesterone effects. But abnormal vaginal bleeding or irregular vaginal bleeding or amenorrhea to that matter is the most common thing which has to be counseled when given injection. So she has to be told that amenorrhea, she keeps on testing her pregnancy test. She keeps on testing. Once she misses the period or amenorrhea, in spite of injections, she is not sure, and the patient keeps on testing the pregnancy test of whether she has become, so she has no faith on it. So therefore you have to counsel that amenorrhea is because of the injection, and the irregular bleeding pattern are because of progesterone. With time they will settle down, and even if they don't settle down, she will not become pregnant. And once she stops her injection, the time period which is given, that is within 5 months or within 3 months of DMPA and NETN, she would have if she not have a fertility, but at least she will have her menses. That is the first choice on my list. Then second, of course, they do not prevent from STD, HIV. That is the second on the order. The rest of this which is listed is all progesterone effect. Any progesterone, either if you give it on give it by oral tablets or by injectables, you will have a weight gain, bloating, headache, dizziness, breast pain, which is usually mastalgia is bilateral, anxiety, depression, fatigue, decreased libido. Cervical infections are common, that is chlamydia. The main side effect is that once administered, you cannot stop that, and whatever effect or side effect would be there would last till the injection effect is over. In progesterone only pills, what you do is you ask her if there is so much side effect, don't take it from tomorrow. But for injection you cannot do it. If it is for 3 months, she will have to face those side effects for 3 months. If it is for 2 months, she will have to face those side effects for 2 months, and then only you can stop and not give her the next injection. That is the disadvantage with the injectables. Any effect on bone mineral density, it was widely discussed. I want to know, what about adolescents? Can you advise a DMPA injection in an 21-year-old girl?
No ma'am, it is contraindicated.
Contraindicated, very right. So it should not be given, and actually it is contraindicated or given with very special precautions, because long-term use of injectables cause osteopenia, and though reversible, but the bone mineral density decreases, which is most commonly seen in the lumbar and hip bone loss, and therefore it is contraindicated. And of course you should be with caution. If you are giving DMPA or NETN for more than 2 years, you have to see that whether her bone mineral density is normal or not. She has discussed the name of Antara. So this is the DMPA which has recently been introduced free of cost in National Family Planning Program in the name of Antara. She has detailed that. Now, are there any combined oral and estrogen progesterone injections? That I want to know from Priya, because she has not mentioned, she has mentioned only progesterone only injectables. But are there any combined estrogen and progesterone only injectables for contraception, Priya? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, then why did you not mention it? They are given. Okay, tell me what they are. Mesigina, okay.
Ma'am, combined.
Yes, combined it is. It is combined estrogen and progesterone. So Mesigina is one. And then any other? So this is the list. The combined injectables of these are basically monthly. So DMPA was 3 monthly, NETN was 2 monthly, but combined injectables are monthly. And this is the list of combined injectables. Once you combine DMPA with estradiol cypronate, that is 25 milligrams of medroxyprogesterone acetate and 5 milligram with estradiol cypronate, then you call it as cyclophem. Then when you combine the NETN with estradiol valerate, where you take 50 milligram of NETN and 5 milligram estradiol valerate, you call it Mesigina. Then you have also monthly injections of desogestrel form. So you have changed the progesterone. Now first it was medroxyprogesterone, then it was norethisterone enanthate, then it is desogestrel. Desogestrel is 150 microgram with ethinyl estradiol 30 microgram, and it is available as Marvelon. And then another progesterone, gestodine, it should be gestodine, I think. Gestodine 75 micrograms and ethinyl estradiol 30 micrograms. It is available as Femovan. And then another it is also available as dihydroxyprogesterone 75 milligrams with enanthate. These are the combined oral. These are not widely used, but they are still available in the market and they can be used if required. So this is the timing of injection chart. So spontaneous menstrual cycle, that we discussed within 5 days of menses onset, so that the dominant follicle doesn't start growing. That is the explanation for it. After spontaneous or elective abortion, you can give it immediately or at the most within 5 to 7 days. Immediately after term delivery, within 3 weeks of abortion if it is not lactating, and if she is lactating 6 weeks postpartum as per the WHO medical eligibility criteria. Now what about the switching them? Now switching from combined OC, while she is already on OC and now she doesn't want to use the OC and now she wants to switch it to injectable. So while on active pills or within 7 days after taking the last 7 tablets, you can put the injection so that she doesn't have a interval. So when the pack is near about ending and there are 7 days left, you put her on injectable so that the injectable effect is continued. While she is using a weekly patch within 7 days after the patch removal. When switching from combined vaginal rings, that is also within 7 days. When she is on levonorgestrel IUCD, then you put it before removing the IUCD within 5 days or within 5 days of removal. So 1 week before removing it to up to 5 days after removal of IUCD, then you don't have to have an additional condom or any additional backup method. The grace period we discussed, it is 2 weeks and after 1 week, and if it is not within this criteria, you have to do a pregnancy test or a sonography. So that is all about injectables. Now we move to implants. She has already detailed you about implants. So can you name me the implants? What do you mean by contraceptive implant here, and can you name the implants? Anyone? Priya has told you implants. Norplant, yes. What is Norplant 2? Implanon, yes. But I am asking you what is Norplant 2? Nexplanon is Implanon. JD. Okay. JD. Okay. So drug delivery system with controlled delivery of drug. There is a reservoir here, and the reservoir has a drug delivery system into the bloodstream. So this has a reservoir, while the injections don't have a reservoir thing. It is in the bloodstream. So now we have Norplant as one, then Norplant 2, which is a rod, it is called as Jadale, then Implanon, then we have Implanon Next, that is a little higher version of Implanon, which is called as Nexplanon or Implanon Next, and then you have a single rod system also. So you have a total 5 or 6 of implants. So can you name other types of implants which are used in body? This is contraceptive implants. But can you name 3 or 4 implants which are used in the body, human body? Are there only contraceptive implants? It's a general knowledge question. I am not asking in obs gynae. I am asking any types of implants which are used in human body. Breast implant, okay. Any other common ones? Prosthesis, okay. Garima. Prosthesis of what? Nexplanon, Smita, I am not talking. Cochlear implants, yes, very nice. Heart valves, yes. Cardiac implants. Silicone, heart valves, pacemakers. So there are many implants. There are many implants, and therefore this is one contraceptive implant. To name a few, there can be pacemaker, there can be hip implant, there can be dental implants, there can be other types of implants which you have already discussed. So that was just a general question. Hormones used in contraceptive implants. What are the two hormones which are used? What are the two hormones which are used? Priya? What does Norplant use?
Ma'am, eternal nogestrol.
Norplant uses eternal
Levonorgestrel.
Yes, Norplant use levonorgestrel. Still someone is writing me progesterone. Now we are way ahead of progesterone. We are discussing progesterone, so be specific about it. I will not give you a single marks if you give you answer as progestine. Levonorgestrel, Sajal Gupta. Okay, and what about Nexplanon? Etinonorgestrel. Okay, so we have contraceptive implants of Norplant Jadale, we have levonorgestrel, and for Implanon and Nexplanon we have etinonorgestrel. Okay, so she has detailed us that sustained release. Note that the fan, they are inserted in a fan shaped manner, and the fan has to be in towards the shoulder. So that is for the Norplant. So when you insert the Norplant, which has 6 capsules or 6 rods, they are inserted like this in a fan shaped manner with the fan facing towards the shoulder. The capsules are made up of medical grade ciliastic, which is a flexible thing, and which is adhesive at both the ends, which is put at the silicone adhesive at both the ends so that it can store this adhesive, and then there is a thin walled membrane on both sides from which it would permeate, and it is filled with levonorgestrel. So each implant would be like this. It is a reservoir system with the levonorgestrel here, then there is a membrane here, and there is a adhesive or seal on both the ends. Each membrane is permeable to steroids. This tubing or membrane is permeable to these steroids which we are discussing, and each measures about 3.4 centimeter. So each rod is about 3.4 centimeter, and the outer diameter thickness is about 2.4 millimeter, and each has it is like a matchstick. So each of them, it resembles like what you see in a matchbox, a matchstick. That is the length and breadth and size of it. And 36 milligram of crystalline levonorgestrel is in each of them to make it a 216 milligrams of levonorgestrel in total, and the release rate she has already told you for the first year and later and for the next year. So first 50 to 60 micrograms in the first year, and later 30 to 35 micrograms in the rest of the year. Our total effectiveness is for 5 years. Okay, so it is long acting reversible contraception. Norplant has this we have discussed, that it is 2.4, it is this we have discussed, that release also we have discussed. What about the type 2, Norplant 2, which is a Jadale? This has in the system like this. So the V should shape towards the shoulder, and the difference is that the Jadale is a little longer. It has it is a little longer, and each has 75 milligram to make a total of 150 milligram, and this has the same adhesive at the both ends and LNG system in the middle. But it has made this was 34 millimeter, now it is 43 millimeter, so it is a little long. This is the whole kit of Jadale. This is the plunger system by which you would put it inside, and this is the way you will put it, and V opening should be towards the shoulder, and it is released a little higher, 80 micrograms per day in the first month, and then 50 micrograms per day in the 9 months, and then for the rest 5 years it is 30 micrograms per day. This is the plunger through which you would insert it. What about implanon? It is a single rod she has discussed. It is 4 centimeter in length, 2 millimeter in diameter, inserted just under the skin. She has told you the arm area, which has to be in the upper arm. It has to be in the subcutaneous tissue. It releases itinorgestrel, which is 60 milligram, and this is the active form. It is a preloaded applicator. The inhibition of ovulation is most important in this, and for injectables the thickening of cervical mucus was more important. For implants it is the inhibition of ovulation, and what is after injection of implanon into the body, within 8 hours of insertion it starts acting and starts inhibiting ovulation. So it is so quick. Initial release is 67 micrograms per day, then it becomes 30 micrograms per day over the next 2 years, and effective for 3 years. After removal also, within 48 hours the circulating levels of progesterone becomes too low. If you do a blood test, then even after removal, within 2 days the progesterone levels fall. So it is quick to act and quick to remove. Local anesthetic is required, and few minutes of a skill is required, and does not contain the latex silicone and will not dissolve and has to be removed. So it is not biodegradable. So that is important in implanon. It requires removal. Nexplanon, she has told me, it is a new version. It came about in 2011. It is radiopaque, different applicator insertion technique. It is subdermal, and it is effective for 3 years and preloaded with this. So this is the implant, which is normally it has a membrane which has barium sulfate. That this makes it radiopaque, and then it has this copolymer in which it is dispersed, and this is the rod system, and this is the membrane system. So now finally we are with this chart that Norplant 1 has 6 rods, 2 has 2 rods, and Implanon has single rods, and this is the type of progesterone and the milligram of progesterone, the mode of action, and this. So you have 6, 2 and 1. Now tell me, what is the importance of subdermal placement? So this is the triceps and the biceps muscle here. So this has to be placed just under skin, subdermal, and the implant is inserted. If the implant is inserted deeply, then you can damage the nerves and vessels over there. So it has not to be deep, and if the nerves and vessels are damaged, it can cause paresthesia in that area, the neural damage. At times when you insert it deeply, you may insert it into fascia or into the muscle, and because of the muscle movement, the implant may not be there where you have put it, but it may be migrated towards the bone. So or at very rare instances, it can go into the vascular and intravascular insertion if you do it deep. So it has to be never to be inserted deep. It has to be just under the skin or subdermal. She has rightly told you this is the whole trolley of insertion, because it has to be done with all aseptic precautions. This is the gloves and drapes, antiseptic solution, marker you will require where you have to mark it and put it, a local anesthetic you would require, sterile gauze pieces you would require, and after insertion you have to bandage, a pressure bandage you would require. So that is a materials of insertion. What you do is you place the woman like this with her arm like this. She is lying down in a supine position with the back on the table, and the non-dominant arm you have taken. Suppose she is a right-handed person, you have taken her left hand and you put it in this position so that it is easy to put it, and you seat yourself such that you can see all that. You just don't put the implant from the head end. You start sitting on this side of the patient so that you can see what you are inserting. You externally rotate it so that the wrists are parallel to her ear and the hand is facing towards her head. So this is the position where you are when you are injecting this. The implant should be inserted subdermally, just under the skin at the inner side of the upper arm, avoiding the sulcus or the groove between the biceps and the triceps muscle and the large blood vessels and nerves that lie therein, so that the neurovascular bundle deeper to the subcutaneous tissue is not affected. So what you are doing is that this is the site, this is the medial epicondyle, biceps and triceps you can see, and this is the 8 to 10 centimeters area which is there. So it has to be 8 to 10 centimeter above the medial epicondyle of the humerus, avoiding the sulcus, and it should be inserted just beneath the skin, that is subdermally. what you do is first you mark it that you make it about from the medial epicondyle, you make an insertion site, and then this is the 10 centimeter area which would guide you, and from here you will start putting it so that you can safely put it without damaging the other structures. What about the kit? The kit has, you anesthetize that area with a local anesthetist, remove the sterile preloaded disposable like this, and then the applicator should not be used if the sterility is in question. Hold the applicator just above the needle at the textured surface area and remove the transparent protection cap. Do not touch the purple slider until you have fully inserted it subcutaneously, and then you have to retract it. So this is how you do. This you have marked out the site, then you just stretch it. First of all you seat yourself so that you can see what you are doing, then you stretch the skin, then you puncture the skin. This is what you are doing. You keeping it at a 30-degree angle, and you have punctured it. Then you make it flat and you just roll it out so that you can put it the whole. During this insertion you have to put the needle to the full length, that so that the implant will be inserted properly. And when you have done that, then you push the plunger while keeping the applicator in the same position. You just unlock the purple slider, and then you would just place this subdermally. So this is the implant which is then placed. You can always verify the presence of implant in a woman's arm immediately after insertion by palpation, because it is just beneath the skin. You can feel it and you can palpate it whether it has been placed or not. Women herself can palpate it, and then you have to do a sterile bandaging, which has to be pressure bandage so that it is not bruised, and that bandage has to be removed after 24 hours, and you have to provide her a user card. The pharmacokinetics of etinonorgestrel is rapidly absorbed, we have seen, and it reaches the circulation just after and starts ovulation inhibition within a few hours to a day. Maximum concentration reach to about 472 to 1270 picograms per ml of the progesterone level, and the release rate at the end of the first year and third year is mentioned. So this is the whole kit. And the contraindications, of course, she has mentioned it. If she is a suspected pregnancy, or if there is a thromboembolic disorder, if you are suspecting some liver disorder, undiagnosed vaginal bleeding where you are suspecting some cancer, and hypersensitivity, of course. Special precautions are to be taken in those patients with breast cancer, those who have deranged liver function or thrombosis of arterial or venous, hypertension, insulin resistance, hyperlipidemia. Now what if you cannot feel the implant once you have inserted? You have done your job well, but now you are in doubt of its presence. So what you can do? These are radiopaque materials, and so you can see it either by X-ray or by CT scan or by ultrasound or by MRI, or you can even measure the level of etinonorgestrel in the bloodstream. So if you cannot feel the implant or doubt its presence, then what you can do for Implanon and for the Nexplanon? When you are in doubt, the visible on X-ray and on ultrasound or on CT or on MRI, Implanon has, that is the Nexplanon or Implanon Next is all. It is visible on X-ray, it is visible on sonography, on CT and MRI, because it has barium sulfate and it is radiopaque. But for Implanon, you cannot see it on X-ray and you cannot see it on CT, but of course you can see on sonography and on MRI. So this is how they look. This is the middle picture is the well placed one. That is, it is well placed. This is the bony area. This is the undersurface of the arm. It is placed in a longitudinal direction, and this is how it is seen on the X-ray. But this is not well placed. This is one end has gone deep, and this has reached up to bone. So this is not well placed at all. This is how you see this is the yellow arrows which are shown. This shows a radio. This is the Implanon or Nexplanon is seen. The implant is seen on a sonography. So this bar you can see on sonography when you do a sonography of the arm, and you can find out whether this acoustic shadow shows you whether it is present or not. When you do a MRI, this is how you will see. This is the dot structure is on because it is a cut section. You would see a cut section of the implant. So this is how you would see. So what do you do to remove the implant? Any possible complications for localization or removal? What do you do when you want to remove the implants? Anyone? Do you require a separate procedure? Is it a complicated one? Anyone? Yes, it is a special procedure, and it requires, just like insertion, it requires a removal. So if the patient requests you, if there is a medical indication coming up, or if it has reached its expiry period, then you remove it. The possible complications is that within the 3 years, either it has got deep at the time of insertion, or it has broken, or it has damaged, or it has migrated, or you cannot feel the implant, or there has been a fibrosis. So removal of the implant should be performed under all aseptic precautions with all the removal technique. So it's the same kit you would require for removal also. You just have to clean the site of insertion, then you have to just locate it, you have to infiltrate it you have to infiltrate it with the local anesthetist, anesthetize that area starting at the tip of the implant. This is what it is being done, and then you just have to give a small incision. Either you push it from this end, and so that you can just push it out and you can remove it with the artery or a Ellis. If it is not palpated, then you have to put it in that tunnel. You have to put that artery or Ellis in that tunnel, and then you have to remove it out like this. You have to remove it out. This is the method of removal of it. Now how about reinsertion? Now you have put it inside, you have removed it. Now she asks, what about next? Can it done in the same place, at the same arm, at the same time? Anyone? She is very happy with the implant, and now she wants a reinsertion after 3 years. What about it? Or after 5 years of implant? Priya? Anyone from the group?
Ma'am, we can insert it again.
Again, yes, very right.
Same place, ma'am, non-dominant arm.
Yes, same place. From the where it was removed, you can put it on the same place at the same time. Okay, you are right. So new implant can be inserted in the same arm through the same incision at the same place at the same time immediately after. No backup is required if you do it. A small incision which was made for removal can be used as a tunnel to reinsert it. You just have to anesthetize it and then put a sterile bandage. So it was right. So this is a diagram where you locate the insertion site, then you are putting it parallel to the skin. This is the positioning. Then this is the needle insertion. You insert it to the full depth, and then you deposit the implant by removing it. At the time of removal, you palpate it, then you make an incision. Either you push it outside or you remove it with the sterile forceps, and this is the method of removing it. So this is the pictorial of that. Now why you choose a non-dominant arm, why you choose a hand, why you choose an inner side of the arm? Any advantage, Priya? Why you have taken it? Prevent displacement. Displacement can be anywhere, no? Prevent, you can displace it on the right arm also, you can displace it anywhere. No displacement would be there anywhere subdermal. Why you have chosen this? You have chosen this because of the functional and aesthetic reasons. You rightly mentioned that it is a non-dominant arm. So this is because if she is a right-handed person, you will be using a left hand. If she is a left-handed person, you will be using a right hand, because it is less functional. So it would be less painful to her. Easily accessible, you have seen the position, easily accessible to the clinician, minimal exposure of the patient, is well protected by its normal. That type of the arm, normally you keep it by the side, and so it is not highly visible, and it is protected in normal activities. Migration is what she has said. Side placement does not affect the circulating progesterone levels, and it is a single rod which is easily provided with an applicator, and it is also easy. So that was the site. The advantages of implants over others were were mentioned, that there are no forgotten pills, there are no missed injections, there are no broken condoms, and there are no lost diaphragms, and so therefore there is a no nuisance value. The return of fertility is prompt, you have seen, can be used in lactating mothers, and hepatic first pass effect is avoided because in oral pills she has the metabolism has to be through liver, but here it is not. Why irregular bleeding patterns? We have discussed what is the pattern, we have discussed, and this is the common problem we have discussed in injectables. So endogenous estrogen which is present, that is the FSH, is normal. So endogenous estrogen part is normal up to the ovulation part. But what do you do in combined oral contraceptive pill is that after a period of 21 days you give a 7 days pill free gap. So in that cases there is a withdrawal bleeding because you stop the progesterone part also. But in this case of injectables and implants, what you are doing is that you are not giving a pill free progesterone part, and therefore the endometrium sheds on its own at its own pace and time, and therefore you have an unpredictable irregular bleeding, and when the progesterone level reach a threshold the patient has amenorrhea, and therefore the alterations in the interval between the bleeding duration and the volume of the menstrual flow can range from spotting to oligomenorrhea to amenorrhea. What about the bleeding irregularity, which is the second most common we discussed? The second most common is does not prevent against against the sexually transmitted infections, HIV, herpes, gonorrhea, chlamydia, etc. And therefore, of course, it has to be inserted by a trained personnel, and of course they are costly. So what about weight change, mastalgia and galactorrhea? We have discussed that there is a weight gain instead of loss, and much is dependent upon whether what is her age when she is inserting it, how is her lifestyle, diet and exercise. There is a mastalgia because of progesterone, water retention, bilateral mastalgia which is associated with the fluid retention, and galactorrhea is common in these women because it increases the progesterone, increases the milk secretion. What about acne? Anyone? It is already 12:44. What about acne? Are there any complications of acne in these patients of implants and injectables because of progesterone? Acne with or without oil protection is the most common skin complication with all levonorgestrel users, and androgen activity of levonorgestrel causes these acne because they have androgen part also in these progesterone. However, eternal levonorgestrel has more of the acne than eternal norgestrel. What should be done? Now I want everyone to answer this. What should be done if an implant user has an ovarian cyst? Now you have put an implant for 5 years, say, and now she comes with a abdominal pain, and you do a sonography and there is a ovarian cyst. What has to be done? There is an ovarian cyst, suppose 6 centimeter. What has to be done? What counseling you will do? Priya? Anyone from group 4?
Ma'am, we should remove the implant.
Why? Why? Why do you want to remove such a costly implant and within 6 months she has developed an ovarian cyst? Is it normal or not? The development of ovarian cyst is normal or not? It is part of that progesterone. It is very common. Can you tell me the reason? Now I have told you that ovarian cysts are very common with implants. Can you just tell me the reason? The reason behind is that you have not affecting the FSH. So FSH continues to act on the follicles, and so what does it happens that the FSH the estrogen part you are not affecting. So FSH continues to rise, and the dominant follicles continue to grow and they wait till the LH surge. Now LH surge is not occurring because you have suppressed the LH part. Now these become cystic and they form follicular cyst. They are not true cyst, they are follicular cyst, and they will rupture spontaneously and they will go away spontaneously. So if you find such a cyst, You have to just counsel it. You have not to remove that implant. These are simple follicular cysts. They would go away with time, and it is because of the progesterone effect. Once the progesterone threshold reaches a level, therefore then they would go away. So that is the important side effect. So we come to disadvantages. We have discussed that all types of vaginal bleeding up till the level of amenorrhea, all type of progesterone effect like weight gain, acne, fluid retention, headache, breast tenderness, mastalgia, hair loss, mood changes, abdominal pain, irritation, pain, itching in the insertion area, and third is that it doesn't protect against sexually transmitted disease. Any site related problems, Priya? Because no one else is answering, no one has read the topic. So only you have, not even your group members have read the topic. So any site related insertion problem?
Ma'am, bruising.
Yes, very right. Any other complication? Ulcers, okay. Infection, yes. Priya Srivastav, infection. Any other? So all types of complications, what you are seeing here in this, it can be pain, swelling, hematoma, redness, it could be broken, it could be damaged. These are the side pictures which can be like, it can be urticaria, she can have these type of pictures, she can have these type of pictures. These are all after implants. So this is local reaction to that implant. Any such implants of male contraception, I want you to answer. Name 3 contraceptive options for men. I want you to answer. You have told me that there is Implanon and Nexplanon. It is Norplant and Norplant 2, Jadale. But is there any in the pipeline male contraceptive implant? And if yes, what is its name? And name any 3 contraceptive options in the family planning for men. Any 3 which men use as a contraceptive. It's very, very easy, the part B.
Ma'am, Gossipol, but it is the pill.
So that is pill. I am talking about implants.
Okay, ma'am.
Mechanical permanent. Mechanical permanent, name it. Permanent means vasectomy. Why do you, and why mechanical condom? Why are you not naming it, Indri? So MENT is the male contraceptive implant which is in the pipeline. And MENT is,
Implants of testosterone.
yes, implants, that is what I am answering. Implants of testosterone are created for synthetic steroids. It resembles testosterone. It is a 1-year implant that is placed under the skin of the upper arm in men, and it is under the development in Population Council of India. So these are the 3 methods: condom, withdrawal method and vasectomy. The Population Council is under development of is developing MENT, which we know by now that the contraceptive options for men are condom, withdrawal and vasectomy, and this is the testosterone part which is being developed. This is for suppression or inhibition of the sperm cell development without impairing the men's sexual drive or libido, and it is made up of it has a 1-year dosing, and what you are doing is that it is a form of synthetic steroid that resembles testosterone but does not convert into dihydrotestosterone. So the main side effect of using testosterone injections is that it does not stimulate the prostate growth. So MENT is in the pipeline. So this is the detail which I will give it to you. Now, can implants be used for nulliparous women? Yes, someone has told vasectomy, that is implants can be given to younger and nulliparous women, and there is no changes in the chances of PID in these cases, but the cost is a factor, while in IUCD you use it in a multiparous woman. Return of fertility, and we have seen compared to injectables, return of fertility is within a week of Nexplanon, that is etonogestrel, while in cases of injectables we have seen that it takes up to 1 year after removal. Special warnings we have already discussed. Special warnings of weight and implant migration we have discussed. Now we are in discussion with Saheli. It is a non-steroidal synthetic contraceptive. The difference which I found from her slide is that it is a 60 milligram tablet which has to be given twice a week. She has mentioned it 1 month, but it is actually 3 months, and then it is followed by once a week for the next time period. The long half-life makes it for twice a week, that is 170 hours. It has started on first day of menses. The mode of action is prevents implantation, it doesn't prevent ovulation. Return of fertility, she has said it is quick. No, return of fertility is never quick. It is up to 6 months to 1 year. It was introduced in the family planning by the name of Chaya, and the Saheli is not in the family planning. It is the first contraceptive which is used as an Indian. It is a SERM, that is selective estrogen receptor modulator. She has rightly told the active ingredient of it, and this is the mechanism of action. It has both anti-estrogenic and estrogenic action. This is the chart that once she starts on Sunday, she has to repeat on Monday, then Sunday, then Wednesday, then Sunday, then Wednesday, then Sunday, then Wednesday. This is the type of chart she has to taken twice a week. Once weekly is not effective. Twice weekly she has to take Sunday and Wednesday for first 12 weeks or 3 months, and then it is followed by once a week. Suppose she is taking on Sunday every Sunday. So that is the chart which is given. When to start a first pill, first day of period, then second pill 3 days later, repeat it for 3 months, then after 3 months take once a week till she wants it. Mention the side effects, that is the side effects: irregular bleeding, and of course the failure rates are more. If she misses the pills, what has to be done? Chaya, she is taking Chaya and now she missed a pill. What has to be done? Anyone? If she misses a pill, if she has missed, suppose she has taken on Sunday, she misses on Wednesday, and she remembers it on Thursday or Friday, that is 1 or 2 days, lesser than 7 days, then she can take that pill on that day and continue with the schedule on Sunday. But if it is she has taken on Sunday and now she remembers it on the next Sunday, then either she has to throw away that packet and use as a next one. And if she is taking weekly, if she is on a dose of weekly after 3 months and she forgets it for more than 7 days, so on 1st and then she is remembering on 15th, then she has to throw away that packet and she has to continue with it. Any more newer implants in the pipeline? This is, I think I have 36 questions, this is 30th I think. So Uniplant and Caprenol. Uniplant is single rod implant system containing non-megestrol. It is effective for 1 year. So we have Norplan, Norplan 2, then Implanon next, or Nexplanon. Now you have Uniplant, also single rod system which contains a different progesterone, and it is for 1 year, not 3 years or 5 years. And this is the biodegradable. This is the biodegradable implant which is named as a Caprenor. It contains levonorgestrel, but it doesn't require removal. After 1 year, the capsule dissolves itself on its own. So these are the newer in the pipeline. And do implant people require follow-up visit, Priya? Just to complete it. They do not require follow-up visit. No, if they have complications, they have to come back, but routine follow-up visits are not required. That is the advantage. Can implants be left in the arm after the time period, or what if she forgets to get them removed?
Ma'am, its time period is 3 years. So
after 3 years, if she forgets to remove, what would be the effect? The contraceptive effect would be gone. And it is not recommended, but if she forgets, that a small dose of progesterone would be there in the circulation, which are not enough to prevent give her contraceptive effectiveness, but the progesterone levels in the blood would be raised. So it is not recommended that after her time period of 3 or 5 years, she should actually be got herself that implant removed. What if she gets pregnant with that implant in place? What would be the effect on the fetus? There would be no effect on the fetus. You just remove the implant and allow her to continue the pregnancy. If because it is progesterone, so you can allow her to continue a pregnancy. If accidentally she becomes pregnant, or if she is accidentally you have put her without testing her, and later on her pregnancy test becomes positive. Should overweight women avoid implants? No, they cannot, they should not avoid implants. They can always be put on implants, although the efficacy of the implants becomes less. Like in Jadel, which is for 5 years, the efficacy becomes 4 years, and therefore for women over 80 kg, you have to remove it after 4 years. The implant has to be removed after 4 years. In case of Jadel, where there is a levonorgestrel, but with the Implanon, with the 80 kg woman put on Implanon, its effectiveness is as good as any other thing. Can you feel the contraceptive implant or see it from outside? Anyone? Yes, you can feel the implant, but you can normally, it is not visible from outside. If you, unless and until you have put it a tiny mark at the time of insertion. If you have done a clean insertion, it is not visible as such. You can, of course, when you press that arm or you try to palpate it, it is subdermal, you can, but it is not visible. It is not projecting outside. So the skin is smooth and it is not visible. Is it okay if you have, if she asks you that she can play a lot of sports or could exercise? Is it okay, Priya? Would you allow her to do?
Ma'am, displacement can occur.
No, but she, then you would not allow her to exercise for 5 years. No, you will allow, definitely allow. You will definitely allow. Migration is not, that is why you have put it subdermal. If you had not put it subdermal, with subdermal correct placement, she can do any activity, any vigorous activity, any gym, any exercises, any sports. Only if you have not put it correctly, that you have put it in a deep and it goes into the muscle, then only with the muscle movements at the time of exercise it would migrate. But subdermal movements it would not migrate at all. And if you have not placed it correctly so that it reaches up to the level of bone or it reaches up to the level of vessel, that movement because of exercise, so it should not, you will allow her to exercise. So that is what it completes. And the quest for more injectables and implants goes on, and your questions also goes on. So thank you so much for your patient listening. I had a less disturbance, though there was disturbance, but thank you so much for your patient listening. Thank you, Priya. Thank you for a nice presentation. Thank you. Okay.